how to access the divine aspect of yourself, how to access the spirit. Now, most of us know we have multiple layers that exist within us. There's a surface layer, there's the unconscious layer, and there's the superconscious layer. The superconscious layer is also called the high self, or comes by many names today. This is what I'm going to use, this superconscious self. So if you take a circle, complete circle, and you divide it into thirds. So in the top third, you have you have consciousness in the level that we are right now, which is we'll just call ordinary consciousness. Ordinary consciousness at the top, subconscious underneath it. You know, since Sigmund Freud made his fabulous discoveries that we have a subconscious, we have come to know that it operates quite effectively and is running a lot of things and controlling much of the thought in the conscious level, a whole lot of the physical activity. And it is influenced by things that have been said or being thought at the conscious level. And in my opinion, it is the barrier between the conscious level and the superconscious level, that you have to get through this unconscious level to get to the superconscious level. And it is as though you were living on the surface of the earth, and the waters of living waters of life are living down here at the superconscious level, and to get there you need to go through the earth, dig a well or something like that to get down. The thing that they settled on in a very profound way was the idea of affirmations and denials. To affirm something is to say it in the present tense as though it were already true. Present tense, already true. Despite the temporal experience of what's going on in your life right now, you could say something like, I am happy, and yet you might be in tears. That's an affirmation. Somewhere in there, at the living waters level, you are happy, but on the temporal level, on the normal, ordinary consciousness, you may not be happy. So you say, I am happy, not because in this very moment you have happiness, but because there is happiness in truth at the depth of who you are. So that is how you manage the cognitive dissonance between what you're saying and what you're feeling. I am, as many of you have known, is essentially part of what Moses heard when he talked to the burning bush. He said, who's sending me on this difficult journey to talk to the Pharaoh to let my people go? Who's sending me? He says, tell him I am who I am. So essentially it is the claiming of the truth. This claiming of the truth is what you're doing. It is not declaring, like in normal conversation, how are you doing? It's not that. It is who you really are. Who are you really? Who is I am that I am, that part of you? That's the one you're talking about. So when you say, I am happy, or I am prosperous, or I am free, I'm at peace, and none of those experiences are happening at the temporal level, you're not lying, you're claiming the truth, which is more profound and more persistent than your momentary experience. Well, one is the self-talk needs to change. The self-talk that we say to each other, to ourselves, excuse me. I don't know if you've noticed, you're tried to track what you talk about to yourself when you're not talking to somebody else. Have you noticed that it's sort of like what you were saying yesterday? A lot like what you were saying the day before that, and the day before that, and the hour before you started looking. And then 2 hours later, it's the same. It's not a big spectrum for most of us. There's just, we kind of say these things over and over. It's habit, and if it stays long enough, it becomes subconscious habit. And it becomes the truth that you believe going forward. It becomes your baseline of understanding, this subconscious. The second method I would like to talk about is meditation. So there are many forms of meditation. Most of them have an idea of calming the mind. One of the things I think that happens when you do meditation to a depth enough is that something from the superconscious mind tends to sneak up. It tends to come up. Meditation many of us encountered when we were starting our journey was transcendental meditation. I took the thing in transcendental meditation when I was in college. And one of the ways the transcendental meditation teacher taught it was this. When you do your mantra, which is a simple syllable or 2 or 3, when you do the mantra repeatedly, you begin to quiet the Another mind. Way of doing this is what they teach in Vipassana. The first form they often teach is watching the breath, that you need to give what you have received. So if it is spiritual teaching and you have it, you don't just keep it for yourself and keep going to teachers and gurus and stuff like that, but you share of yourself. The way to get there, as Jesus said, suffer the little children unto me, do kind things, take care of the stranger in your community, feed the poor, help the widow. Those are the things that you do to set the conditions for a different experience, for the awakening. You need to be moral if you wish to advance spiritually. That there is a crusting over that happens of who we are when we cannot trust ourselves, where we're not honest, true, dependable, loving, kind. When we're not that kind of person, it's difficult to be a spiritually deep person. You're going against the grain. Emily Cady said this, wait on the Lord. Lord. Do you know what that means? It means you sit and you invite and you